right, so welcome to another one podcast. This is Peter, and I'm Alvin. Today's podcast, what are we talking about?
We're going to be talking about my trip to Rarotonga and Aitutaki. You might be asking, what am I talking about? Where have I been?
That sounds really interesting. Rarotonga,
Rarotonga,
I
Aitutaki.
Aitutaki, Rarotonga, Aitutaki.
Yes.
What a name.
What a name. I'll give you a hint, they are Polynesian names.
Oh,
Polynesian names.
so it's similar to like Samoa, Tonga,
exactly right. You're getting
Vanuatu.
Yes, you're getting hotter and hotter. Quite literally, because they are very hot environments,
Yeah, right.
warm and pleasant.
Okay.
But also hotter because the geographical location is right between French Polynesia, Tahiti, and Samoa.
Sweet ass.
And-
Well, unfortunately, we don't have any coconut to represent any Rarotonga, Aitutaki kind of, vibrance, but at least we have a beautiful scenery here at the dockside of Canberra, Kingston, for sure. So I guess we'll see you in the next video.
We will see you in the next video, and we will discuss in more details the
Awesome.
adventures that I came to live on Rarotonga and Aitutaki.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. It sounds so intriguing that I want to hear more. All right, guys. Catch you on the flip side.
See you soon.
See you soon. Here we are in a beautiful sunny weather of Canberra. Oh, hi guys. Welcome to another one podcast. I'm Alvin and this is,
Peter.
and today's topic we're going to talk about Cook Island. And that's where Peter comes in and tell me, where is that, Peter?
Where are Cook Islands? So it's a group of 15 islands located between Samoa and Tahiti. Tahiti belongs to French Polynesia. Cook Islands themselves are one of the most isolated island communities in the world. They are so almost in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, surrounded by immense amount of water.
Wow.
Just the area of Cook Islands is comparable to area of Western Australia.
Wow.
So that's the area all 15 islands are spread on.
Oh, it consists of 15 islands.
It consists of 15 islands. If you look at the flag of Cook Islands, it has a Union Jack, looks like Australian flag.
Oh, right.
But in the blue section, there's 15 stars, and each of them represents one of the island.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And if you put the landmass of all the islands together, you get mass of 1/4 of Canberra. Okay?
Wow.
So get that into perspective. Imagine 1/4 of small city of Canberra, so let's say Belconnen, that's the mass combined of all 15 islands over the territory of Western Australia.
Oh, that's pretty amazing.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
how and it's very, and not just that, but then you zoom out and you realize that they are lost in the middle of the ocean. So the first thing I realized when I landed in Rarotonga, which is the main island of Cook Islands, was that even the roaming didn't work.
Oh, you mean on the phone, on the cell
No,
phone?
it doesn't work.
Oh,
That's
wow.
isolated. So you had to buy a SIM card for local operator,
Oh, okay.
Cook Islands operator.
What did you use?
They have a version of Vodafone,
Oh, right. Okay.
which operates, but they have their own towers and everything because the roaming doesn't reach that far. It's that isolated.
Wow.
The other thing, you realize how isolated they are from civilization. And by the way, that was one of the reasons why I decided to fly to Rarotonga and then subsequently visited island of Aitutaki, is that the nearest McDonald's is 2,000 kilometers away.
What? 2,000
2,000
kilometers.
kilometers away could be in
That's-
the islands of Fiji, Nadi. That's how it is. And then
you
you
kidding?
have no, that's it. And there's a beautiful picture I took with all the posts of distances, and there's a McDonald's there. It's about 2,300 kilometers,
Wow.
and then KFC is on the other opposite direction, about 2,000 kilometers as well.
Very interesting.
So
Very,
that's
very
how
interesting.
isolated they are. I don't have any of these global brands. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, right.
Nothing
okay.
like that. And the other thing is with Cook Islands, just to give you a perspective in terms of how many people live there. Those 15 islands combined, and some of them don't have any people living, so they're just virgin islands without any population. But those islands that have people, it's about 15,000. 15. Canberra has about 400,000. So that gives you a perspective of the main island of Rarotonga and its capital city of.
That's the main population.
That's the only population of Cook Islands.
Wow.
The main island,
15,000.
yeah, very little.
Very, very little.
It's
yeah.
very isolated. And then island of Rarotonga has 10,000.
Oh wow, just another.
10,000.
Wow, that's really interesting.
And the island of Aitutaki, where I went as well, and where I
Sorry,
stayed.
what's that? What's the island called?
Aitutaki?
Aitutaki.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's about 2,000, no more than that. Yeah. So that gives you a good perspective on where the Cook Islands are, and what's the comparison to the world as we know it, and how isolated they are.
That's actually almost similar to Falkland Islands. The
Yes.
population of
Yeah,
Falkland
similar,
Islands
yes,
is
yeah,
2,500.
And the other thing as well that was interesting about Aitutaki is that the only way to get there was to fly to New Zealand, and then from New Zealand, direct flight to Rarotonga.
Right. And how long was that?
That usually takes about 8 hours with the changeover, but I have to say that Australia now introduced direct flights twice a week to Rarotonga. So
Twice a week.
yes,
Yeah, right,
But
okay.
it's very
Interesting.
So that's
So not much people go there?
No,
is that right?
That's exactly right.
Right,
So.
okay.
To be honest, that was one of the reasons why I was interested. Obviously, the nature and beaches, but
Yeah.
seclusion away from civilization.
And that's why we choose this place.
Exactly. It reminds me of this beautiful, authentic nature. Everything was organic. Not many tourists. Not many people who would disturb that untouched cultural peace and the
Organic.
remoteness. Exactly. So that was the reason. And I really enjoyed it, and it's one of the destinations I can confidently say that I want to go back, and perhaps even explore other islands.
Yeah. 15 consists of 15 islands. Is that right?
Yeah.
So like, did you visit it, any specific islands in?
Yes. Before I get to that,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
say
yeah.
it's funny. It's funny. It's quite
yeah.
interesting. The entry requirements to Cook Islands is that when you land in Rarotonga, because that's the only international airport, is Avarua. It's the capital city. Avarua is the capital city. You have to present to the immigration officer. You have to show them your return air ticket,
Okay. Yeah.
and you have to show them the proof of your accommodation.
Oh, what? Okay.
So if
Interesting.
and that's a good thing, because they don't want any vagrants.
Yeah.
They don't want any people who just rock up, and any digital nomads or those type of people who just want to laze around and don't have any plans to. You have to have accommodation. If you don't have accommodation, you're not allowed to enter the islands. Also, if you don't have a return ticket, you're not allowed to unless you have a very valid reason and/or formal permission to remain for certain period of time. You can't enter.
That's really interesting, because then it keeps away, like you said, it keeps away the pests.
Yeah, he put it
No.
in a nice way, direct way. That's exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it keeps the
Unwanted.
unwanted. Sorry, yeah.
You want to go to a paradise.
yeah.
Which has a
Yeah,
certain
an
level.
untouched island
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
preserved well, the nature preserved kind of its
Mhm.
own, beauty, I guess. All right, Peter. So that's really interesting. So it's pretty untouched, kind of preserved islands where, it keeps people out in case, that. I like the fact that when you go into the island, you have to show proof of identity in the way of accommodations, as well as the flight tickets, the traveling
Return ticket.
return
Yeah.
tickets, because not many places you go to has that kind of validation of securing the place.
Yes.
To keep that kind of to keep that country well preserved in a
Yes,
way
that was an
you know-
interesting,
Yeah, that's really
yeah.
interesting. So tell us more about Rarotonga anyway.
Okay, so Rarotonga is the main island of Cook Cook Islands. It is surrounded by a beautiful lagoon ring.
Mm.
So when you're flying into the Rarotonga, you see this lush green island with mountains in the middle.
Mm.
And then it's surrounded by this beautiful ring of white sand beaches. And it's this azure, no, what's the word? Like a lagoon. Azure, yeah, like a blue lagoon surrounding the island.
Mm.
And so there's only one beach down the south, which has white sand, and you can go and even surf and swim in the ocean. The rest is just lagoon where it's like a swimming pool, natural swimming pool where you can snorkel. You have all the array of beautiful, colorful fish. You can
Was
kayak.
it quite coral?
They are, yes. So you had coral around in the lagoons.
Oh wow, that would
It's beautiful. The water is lukewarm. There's no waves. It's like a pool. The only one's the south is a little bit of waves on the south of Rarotonga, but that beach is just splendid. You have white sand, lush green palm trees, blue sky, and
I could only imagine myself there right now.
It's
It's almost similar to Bali. Not Nusantara. What is it called? You mentioned it in another podcast, but anyway, yeah.
You mean Bali Beach or?
Yeah, Bali Beach. One of the Bali. You have to take 2-hour flights or by boat.
Lombok.
Yeah, Lombok.
Lombok,
yeah.
similar.
Similar.
I would still say this is slightly better.
Oh,
slightly
wow.
nicer, slightly more
That's saying
pronounced and amplified.
something.
The other thing which we mentioned earlier, but I will touch upon it again, there is almost no people in these splendid, fantastic environments. Beaches, there's no, locals don't really go because they are born there, they don't really find
they've
it
probably already seen
Exactly.
the place way too many times.
And because there's not many tourists, you wherever you go, you have this scenery I just described, and there's almost no one there. And what's good about lagoons is they are not very dangerous. It's not like ocean that you can be taken by a current or there's sharks or anything like that.
Wow, there's no sharks?
There's no sharks. So they are around maybe outside of lagoons,
outside of the
but
lagoon,
they don't swim in the lagoon because of the water temperature is not suitable.
Right.
And so, and what I was gonna say about Rarotonga as well, to get around, there's a main highway around this island. And it takes about 45 minutes to drive around.
Oh wow,
It's a very small
yeah,
island.
very
it's
small
very
island.
isolated.
Yeah.
Wherever you stop, you just pull over the car. First of all, you can park wherever you want. There's no pay car park.
Of course not. It's small.
And you get out of the main highway, you pull over and you just walk a couple of meters down into that beautiful, fantastic lagoon, and you can just swim or just go for the walk on the beach without any crowds.
Wow.
Right? That's beautiful. The other thing about Rarotonga is in the middle, it has beautiful mountains and a couple of hiking opportunities.
Okay.
So I did.
Did you do those hikes?
Yes, I did. I went to the highest point, highest mountain of Rarotonga.
Yeah.
It's called the Needle.
The what? What is it called?
Needle.
As a needle, as in like
Yeah, because it's like a rock that sort of comes out and you see this
Protruding.
spiky protruding
Really?
from and you go up to.
It's almost sound like the way you're describing it. It's almost sound like an obelisk.
A little bit. It looks like it from a distance,
Okay.
and you go to these beautiful open areas, lush green fields, and then you have palm trees in the background, and you go into the
What?
forest. You go up to the.
Sounds so magical, guys.
It is, and you have, and the walk up to the hill is quite challenging because you're
Quite
walking
steep.
and
Yeah.
you're walking on a tree
Right.
roots, so you have to climb.
Oh really? Wow,
It's
that's quite steep.
It's quite steep, yes.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good adventure. It was a good hike, and you can actually walk through the island
Wow.
from one side to another over the mountain range. So you had that nice workout. You see the nature, and then you go down back again, and then you go to the lagoon and you swim and relax on the beach under the palm trees. You order a coconut drink or smoothie.
Oh,
And then you feel like you want to cool down, you go to the lagoon and swim, and you come back under the beautiful palm tree after a hike,
that sounds too nice.
which I've done a few times.
What are we doing here? Seriously, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, this is nice and serenity, and it's beautiful, but it's been touched.
Yeah,
by
it's
many-
not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same feeling.
Yeah.
But the way you describe these islands, oh my goodness, I just it just reminds me back at home as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Indonesia has this kind of lagoons as well, like where I'm from as well. Tanjung
Yeah.
Pinang.
Yeah.
So we've touched base on overview of the Cook Islands,
Rarotonga.
Rarotonga.
Yeah.
Entry to Cook Islands, you've kind of touched
Touched
upon that as well. Let's go with what about the foods? I'm sure because being, you know, water-based kind of, you know, island, 15 islands consists of 15 islands. I'm sure it's, you know, your food base would be mainly seafood, wouldn't it?
Yes and no. Yes, and
Oh.
so Polynesian cuisine consists
So
of...
there are meats as well.
Exactly. So I start by saying, wherever you go to in Rarotonga, everything is, I say the word freely available.
Okay.
So you will realize this wild chicken everywhere. And it's so to such extreme that you go to the airport, you're gonna go to the check-in counter or you leave the airport, whichever, and you have chicken walking between your luggage. It's,
You know,
that's what they say. And it's so open that they don't have any walls and fences in Cook Islands
Wow,
and
that's
or
so cool.
Rarotonga. You can kind of walk almost wherever you want. Even the airport.
you're so free.
Exactly. Even the airport hall, airport building is in such a way that it has open walls from a couple of sides. And so, coming back to the topic of food, so we have all these free roaming chicken. We have plenty of fish.
You can just pick the chicken freely and then, oh, I want to pick this chicken and cook.
Yes, and we have a wide variety of tropical fruits.
Oh,
So you go to the beach and you see all these coconuts lying on the ground or growing on the trees. You see banana trees, you see papayas, you see mangoes.
what?
You see taro.
Oh,
You see arrowroot. It's like a vegetable they use. It's a very
Okay.
popular ingredient in the dishes, which I'll touch upon as well.
Okay.
You see chilies growing in the park. Like we are sitting in
What?
this. You can and so what I did, and you see as well. Speaking of the chicken, eggs under the bushes.
Wow,
eggs under the bushes.
so organic.
And so to touch on the food before I go into what I ate in restaurants and cafes, I spend fair amount of time picking up these fruits,
Yeah.
making smoothies, organic
On the go?
smoothies on the go in where I was staying, opening coconuts, and then we had
It sounds like you were harvesting.
harvesting and the chicken we had because we were staying in a house in the backyard. It was a beautiful backyard and trees, and so
Yep.
we found lying eggs.
When you say we, did you go with
It's
your
a group
friends?
of
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so there was eggs of chicken we picked up, and we cooked for breakfast. Organic, everything was organic.
And it's free. That's the
It's
most
free,
important part.
Organic. You realize everything that is organic is smaller but healthier
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
freely available. What was interesting actually when I went to the shops, I was checking. Okay, how much is the coconut? They didn't have many, and they sell it for $8 because nobody bothers to harvest. Because nobody bothers to sell because it's freely available. Same with
Yeah.
bananas.
Yeah.
It was almost impossible to get bananas in shops.
It's like, what's the point of going to the shops almost? Because
Exactly.
like everything is kind of like
Everything
free
was
for
there
you to
available.
take.
and that was bananas. Then one thing that was interesting though, and we couldn't find garlic.
Oh, surely you, yeah.
No, they didn't even grow garlic. And every single shop we went to,
So there's chilies, but no garlic.
there's plenty of cheese, but no garlic. We went to every single shop. There wasn't garlic paste. They had one garlic paste that was made in Fiji. Many products are made in Fiji like this and brought up, but there was no garlic. And I asked, like, fourth shop I went to supermarket, I said, are you gonna do it? Can I get a garlic? And the lady said, oh, I'm afraid there's no garlic on the island. She was almost singing, like, they're so nice, they're so open. I said, do you know when you're gonna get a stock? Whenever the ship arrives. They're very relaxed. They go with the time of the
the
ocean,
flow. Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
flow, and sometimes they run out of supplies. Not completely, but certain type of supplies because they're very isolated.
Definitely. yeah.
And they don't really have always the schedule of the deliveries from big ships because they're so far that they can be hold up.
Yeah.
So they just go like whenever the ship gets here, it gets here.
Well, yeah. I think you touched base on it earlier, or you told me that in the early conversation prior to having this podcast is that apparently, is it every 2 days that they get plane?
No, twice a week.
Twice a week? Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah,
right. So
every about 3 days.
I'm
or
guessing
something.
with that, twice a week of plane coming
Mhm.
into the islands, that's when also produce, stocks
Yes,
will be available
Yeah, they
to the island as well.
yeah, they had three
perhaps.
airlines that I was aware of flying. Actually, four.
Mm.
So it's quite isolated. So if Air Rarotonga, New Zealand, Hawaiian, and there was a Jetstar, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
So the four.
Right.
Yes, and so to touch upon food, so there's actually chicken, lots of chicken
Yeah.
being served,
Yeah.
organic, fish,
Yeah, definitely.
a very beautiful array of fishes, very fresh.
Vast of sea, of course.
Vast
You
of
can.
sea, many
it's
fruits,
free.
tropical salads, smoothies, vegetables, especially taro and arrowwood. It's added to everything.
Arrowwood, this is really interesting.
And then there is coconut, many different types of coconuts. You have the coconut pulp, you have the dry coconut, you have coconut water, you have dry fruits. Some of the fruits I don't even know the names, but I taste them with dishes. They were served as part of a dish or side dish or dessert. So, and the main dish is ikan mata.
Ikan mata.
Ikan mata, yeah.
So they speak Indonesian?
They don't speak Indonesian, they speak Polynesian, but Indonesia Bahasa is part of Austro-Asian languages.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah.
And so it's rooted in Malaysian, old Malaysian version.
True.
And that's a similar baseline of languages that is spoken in Philippines and Melanesia and Polynesia.
True, true.
So it has an old root. So that's a ika. Ika in Polynesian is fish, just like ikan in Bahasa.
Exactly, that's right, yeah. And mata is eyes.
Yes, so exactly. So what it is it's a form of ceviche. Ceviche it's a raw fish cut in pieces.
Sushi. Sashimi, sorry.
Something sashimi, but it's in a coconut base.
Oh, I've had this
with
before.
onions, with lime, with herbs.
Oh.
And sometimes they put pomegranate as well.
Pomegranate.
Yeah. And you have it with fresh bread.
Oh my goodness,
And you
this sounds
eat
so
it.
refreshing.
Yeah, and it's cold because it's nice and warm in there.
Yeah.
And so it's cold and it's refreshing. And they have their own brewery. They make a beer in Cook Islands.
Right.
It's called the Rarotonga Brewery or something along those lines. Cook Islands Lager, or I'll double check, but we put it in the reference.
Yeah.
It's also a beautiful beer. And the weather there they call them islands of permanent spring. It's never really hotter than 28, 30 degrees, and it's never cooler than 22, very rarely. And the temperature is mild and pleasant, and it's not humid because there's so much nature, not many buildings. It keeps this beautiful, fresh vibe. So just really good.
It just sounds like a dream. So how long did it take for you to travel there? Like from Australia, where did you have to go? Like,
so I had a direct flight from Sydney. That's why I
Yeah.
went, because as soon as I saw introduced direct flight, I jumped on it. It's about 7 hours,
oh wow,
six
So
and a
it's like
half.
it's almost like from here to Singapore, or from Sydney
Yeah,
to
Indonesia.
Singapore.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing about Rarotonga, I realized, is that they also have, with real estate, for example, is not uncommon to see graves at the front yards of the houses, between the main road and the house. So they bury their ancestors to the ground, but they bury their ancestors in the land of the family.
Oh.
So they want them to be part of that family, even though they're already dead.
So let's say, for example, you have a house here, and you might have a grave backyard.
In your
backyard.
Not even backyard, in a front yard, so people can see. It's also a polite way of showing we don't put our ancestors at the back. We value them and honor them, so they're at the front because they have a stand in our life, even though they have passed away. And it's also one of the things that the guide that was guiding me through the island told me. It's also because in Cook Islands we don't do what you guys do in West. I said, what is it? And he said, well, we're not greedy for properties. We don't sell properties to foreigners, and we don't sell properties really among ourselves. It stays within the family. Or you can lease it for a certain time, but there's no business about property. So burying our ancestors in our land ensures that they stay with the land. so we don't
Right.
sell it to someone else.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's an interesting
It's a
concept.
very interesting concept.
They do have
yeah.
obviously cemeteries as well. It's not
Mm.
just they bury everyone
Yeah,
in the front yards or backyards, but it is a part of their culture.
Well, they don't have that much people to begin with, so
Mm.
therefore they can pretty much almost make up their own rules and
Yeah,
have something unique
exactly.
to
And
say about them, you know?
yeah, and I like how they
Um,
protect their real estate.
Yeah,
They don't
right.
let it turn into a gold making
Yeah,
mine.
yeah. Money hungry.
Money hungry,
Mm.
where the locals will be eventually outpriced of the market and
Mm.
become dependent on the owners of the land and or especially wealthier foreigners who would like to make money on it.
Yeah. Of
So
course.
this is good. This is what I like.
Mm.
Yeah.
Alright. There's a lot of places I want to visit, but sounds like Cook Island is probably one of them as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I love serenity.
Yes.
I love things to do with organic scenes.
Yes, it's very peaceful. Yeah.
Where you feel like you're, away from this society.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. And the other thing I realized as well to talk about is that it's a very spiritual place.
Mm.
Not only that the ancient ancestors venerated the nature and they had their own gods, but now there's a high level and strong level of Christianity present on the islands. Many people, vast majority of Cook Islanders are faithful, they believe, they're religious, they love God. Many people are making reference to God and Jesus throughout the travel.
Right.
The guide, even in a restaurant. So it's and you see, and this is beautiful. You're driving through Rarotonga or Aitutaki, and you have this random sign that says, "Rest assured, Jesus loves you. God loves you.
God loves you.
Follow the path.
Mm.
You're not alone." So this is a beautiful how the community works together. I was walking sometimes on the street, and there was a random car that stopped by and offered me a lift.
Yeah.
It's the beautiful communal spirit, and
Which we don't get here in this society, in this
no,
era,
yeah,
which is
it's
unfortunate.
very- And they have many churches, and what's very beautiful, almost touching, is when you go to the mass and they have this beautiful singing of hymns, choir and hymns in Polynesian languages. It resonates really well. It gives you that, it lifts your vibe.
Yeah.
And then
You feel like you're in a tribal kind of
Exactly,
community.
yeah. So they venerate Christianity and Jesus, and they have that, like you said, the tribal communal spirit. Beautiful sounding hymns, and then you step out and it's this sunny, beautiful day with mountains in the background and blue lagoons on the other side, and the beautiful fresh food everywhere. It's beautiful. It left a very beautiful impression on me.
Interesting. Very interesting. So you touch on the church hymns. Trip to Aitutaki? Turkey?
Aitutaki.
Aitutaki.
Aitutaki, yes.
Aitutaki.
Aitutaki, yes.
Okay, so yeah, can you tell us about the trip to Aitutaki?
Okay, so I flew from Rarotonga, we went to Aitutaki.
How long did that take you?
It takes about 50 minutes on a flight.
Oh, so there's no
It's
boat?
far. It's
Oh,
far.
it's quite far,
Yeah. There's
right?
no ferry, you have to catch a plane.
So Aitutaki is one of the 15 islands?
Exactly, yes.
But it's far from...
It's far from...
Wow.
Aitutaki is often compared to Bora Bora
Right.
in terms of beauty.
Wow.
It is a fully coral island
No way.
with kilometers square of lagoons where the water is just above reaches your knees or your
Oh my
waist.
goodness, wow.
Unspoiled white sand beaches with lush green palms and beautiful coral reefs
Oh
with
my goodness.
countless amount of colorful fish
I don't know if you can see me guys, but I'm
where you
dreaming.
can swim. Coconuts everywhere, bananas everywhere, food everywhere, and everything organic. Beautiful vibe. Often you hear, if you're near communities, you see this beautiful music, Polynesian, Cook Island music. Sometimes you're lucky enough to see their dancers dancing in the rhythm of the drums and other instruments. Which
Did
is
they
also-
do the fire
They do a fire as well.
fire dance? Yeah, yeah.
Fire dance too. That's
Thought
part
so,
of
yeah.
that. And so Aitutaki was a marvel, and it's one of the.
It sounds like it.
They compare it to one of the. Not many people know about it. That's a very good thing, because that was one of the reasons why I went there, because I like to discover things that are almost out of this world but not well known.
Exactly.
And we did also hiking. snorkeling, swimming, barbecue out in the outdoor,
Wow.
all these things in the island. And so we flew there from Rarotonga to Aitutaki,
How long was the
about 50 minutes.
50 minutes? Right.
So the local airline operates the flight twice a day. And that was the only time in my life when nobody bothered to check my luggage. I was carrying my backpack with all the provisions for my stay in Aitutaki. And there was a guy with a clipboard, and I was running late because the driver who picked us up was late, so we didn't even get a boarding pass.
Yeah, right.
The airplane was waiting for us just on the tarmac, just there waiting for us.
Was it a small plane?
Yes, small plane with propellers, but you could probably fit about 30 people in there.
Okay.
Because it was a proper airline service that it was operated by the national airline.
Right. Interesting.
And the guy just ticked us off the list. Nobody bothered to check my luggage. And that's okay. That was beautiful because they trust each other.
Yeah.
They trust each other. No, I could have had a knife there. I could have had whatever. And then you go on the stairs to the airplane, and the air hostess says, "Okay, can I please see a boarding pass? This is normal." And I said, "Oh, I don't have it. I was running late. Oh my gosh." But you have to board a flight with a boarding pass.
Yeah,
she
of
goes,
course.
which is fair.
Yeah.
I started looking back, and then she goes, "Okay, what's your name?" She checked. Go and sit over there. Thank you. But this is a beautiful. This is how they are. And that gave me this warm feeling. And then we flew over to Aitutaki.
That doesn't give you the reason to not have a boarding pass, by the way, guys.
Of course, don't follow in my footsteps. But at the same time, it's a beautiful experience. And so we landed in Aitutaki, and then we had this bus transfer, which was a truck. They had a roof over the top of the truck. And they transferred us to a boat. And we had a group tour as well, which we booked. And there was this beautiful ride on the lagoon on a boat. There was the music, there was the Polynesian band. And they were singing, and then they were serving barbecue lunch.
Quite vibrant.
They had this beautiful food that was consisting of many different fruits, vegetables, fish, chicken, raw fish, different drinks, smoothies.
This really makes me miss my island, guys.
And then we went to different small coral islands within Aitutaki.
Wow.
So you have hotels, which is on the main Aitutaki island. There's only about 2,000 people living in Aitutaki.
Yeah.
People, when we were passing there was a local pub, which was about 6, maybe 5 tables.
Yeah.
Everybody was waving at the truck.
Is that the only local pub?
Yeah, there's 2 apparently.
Yeah.
And then there was a church, the only church in the city. And what's interesting in Aitutaki is you're driving through the road, and you know how in Canberra you have, or anywhere else in Australia or in the world, you have this speed bump.
You
have a sign that 20 kilometers, whatever.
Yeah.
In Aitutaki,
There's no
driving,
speed bumps or anything.
There are speed bumps.
Okay.
But you have a speed bump, and then you have this sign that says, "Slow down, you are in paradise." Very creative. And
that's very creative.
And behind the sign, you see this beautiful white sand blue lagoon with palm trees. And it says, "Slow down, you are in paradise." Why wouldn't you want to slow down?
What more do you want? Seriously, like
it should really have something different. Speed up, you're blocking the traffic because everybody drives so slow to admire the beauty.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
They have traffic?
No, it's
No,
very
of course
small.
not.
It's very, but people would drive fast if they're in a rush. You find that anywhere you go.
Yeah, since the island is only has like what consistent of 2,000.
And what's interesting about Aitutaki as well is that this is the only island in Cook Islands that doesn't have any dog.
Oh.
Dogs are not allowed. In Rarotonga, you will find many dogs roaming around, but in Aitutaki, there is no one single dog because
they want to preserve the island to schmitz, like
the reason behind it was different. The guy told me that the main chief of the island was bitten by a dog.
Oh.
So he got angry
and he said no more dogs.
No more dogs, and he chased all the dogs out to Rarotonga. And so there haven't been dogs there for years. And so what happens is they have one primary school and one kindergarten in Aitutaki. I went to have a look to the school. It's very
One school and one kindergarten
Yeah.
for 2,000.
Well, the primary school is pretty big. They have one primary school, the main school, and there's a small institution a little bit away from the main community.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the major school, there's only one. They
Wow.
said it's only like a major primary school is only one.
Wow.
And I went to have a look. It's quite simple, but you have the playground, you have everything. And they said to me, well, when children reach the age of high school, they have to go to Rarotonga.
Yeah, makes sense.
And some of them, because it's far, there's no boats,
Mm.
and some of them don't want to pay for the air ticket. They just live there for all the little childhood.
Mm.
And when they are in the age of teenagehood or maybe early 10s, 10, 9, and 8, they go to
Mhm.
Rarotonga for the first time.
Mm.
And it's the first time in their life they see a real dog.
Wow, yeah, that's true, huh?
And they treat them like cats sometimes.
Oh, really?
And these dogs, no, they're
Yeah.
friendly, but
Yeah,
they're a
yeah.
little bit, they run around. So
yeah.
it's a bit of a culture shock, I should say island shock, when these children go to Rarotonga
Yeah,
and find,
yeah.
okay, we have all these dogs roaming around, but you've never seen a real dog in our life in Aitutaki.
That's very interesting,
yeah,
huh?
Yeah. So
Imagine that.
imagine, yeah, it's a very interesting. And you do feel this. Aitutaki is also the island historically where the Christianity was brought to Cook Islands. It was the first island, and islanders believe it was the sign from God that this was a very peaceful religion that came over the Cook Islanders, and God chose the island of Aitutaki, which is close to paradise. It looks very peaceful, beautiful, to touch on Cook Islanders and spread the Christianity over the Cook Islands. So that's what they believe. So it has been touched by God, basically, the island, which does look beautiful. And it does have this peaceful serenity and energy because there's no people there almost on the beaches. It's
Untouched.
untouched. And we stayed there and you could feel like you really reset. You really reset from the world. Even there was a small child, or it was in the group with us. And we could see the person the child completely stop looking at the iPad, the phone, was really settled, was really peaceful, start connecting with the nature.
Yeah, so the child that you mentioned was connecting with the environment. Tell us a little bit more of that.
Yeah, so he stopped looking at the iPad and phone, and he was just playing with coconuts. He was mesmerized by the waves, throwing the coconuts in the water.
Wait, he took his iPad? His mum allowed him to take his iPad?
When children these days do that, it is not a surprising thing. Once
Yeah.
you have children yourself, you realize, oh, they're gonna be glued on the screen.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's something that happens. It doesn't happen in environments like that where
Yeah,
they are
definitely.
more connected with nature and more traditional.
Yeah.
And so, but I could see how he was resetting back to the traditional ways. But the energies were also settling within him. He was calmer, he was happier, he was more quieter, he was more sort of stuck in the moment, playing
That serenity gives it
Exactly.
off, you know? Yeah.
playing with the nature, with little crabs and
Shells.
and coconuts. So it really had that effect on children, and they are more connected to the spiritual. They have more inclined towards these influences, so-called invisible influences, than adults.
Imagine if someone's watching this, one of our videos of this, and they showed it to their parents, or they showing it to their kids as well. They might want to give it a shot. you
Yeah,
know?
definitely. It's a beautiful, and it's also for adults. It just gives you that reset, restart.
Yeah.
Makes you you are in the present moment, just like when I was walking through the beaches, listening to the wind, breeze, waves. You can't think of anything else, so it's so beautiful and so serene that you're walking on the beach, you are walking walking through the lagoon, listening to the sound of the waves, sound of the wind, looking on the beautiful white sand, and you just can't think of anything else, just of whatever is around you. So your mind is mesmerized by the beauty, but also you are not wandering off to the future or being stuck in the past. Just that fact that you are in the present moment makes you really peaceful.
And because that place is so, gives you that zenfulness kind of moment, or that serenity, you don't want to think about going back to the to your about your
Exactly.
current lifestyle and
Yep.
stuff like that.
That's-
You don't want to
yeah.
worry about the work, and you want to live all of that until you go back there.
Yes, yes, that's right. Yeah, no, exactly.
And I'm sure you probably was by the time that you had to leave that place and to go back to Australia again, I'm sure you were like, I'm not leaving this place.
Yeah, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to leave, so I felt a little bit down when I was boarding the aircraft. I could stay another few weeks easily. That was beautiful.
You
yeah.
probably perhaps want to settle down with one of their women.
Yeah, maybe some islander woman with coconut on her instead of a bra, dancing in the rhythm of the music on the beach. No, but staying there for longer will be nice. I wouldn't mind staying there for some time, for a few months maybe, or even half a year.
Yeah, so Rarotonga, Cook Islands itself, it consists of 15 islands, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And so because you were there for what? How long?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
So within that 2 weeks, was it just Rarotonga and Aitutaki?
Just
Oh,
yeah.
that's a shame.
But I'm thinking of coming back and explore some of the other islands as well.
Okay.
Because it's good to stay in one place, and if it's so beautiful, to absorb the vibes and not to rush all the time somewhere else.
Mm.
So that's yeah. And also traveling between the islands is not cheap.
Oh, really?
No, it's a little bit costly as well. So you gotta budget it as well. So okay, this time I'm only gonna go here. If I really like the area, I come back again. But second time I go here.
So like taxi, for example, what would be the cost of taxi?
But air tickets between because don't forget, like I said, the islands are on the area spread on the area of Western Australia.
Mm.
So it's really far apart. So there's no way you can go by boats. You have to go by plane, and they are
Wow.
quite expensive because they cost you. So it's not, and because the islands themselves are so isolated,
Mm.
supply chain is very expensive. So especially the small islands like Aitutaki, they can be very expensive for food as well. So
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, no, that's next time. I'm thinking, like I said, if I go back to Cook Islands, which I'm willing to at some point, I'll definitely visit some other serene,
other islands,
beautiful
yeah.
islands. Yeah.
Hmm. No, that sounds very mesmerizing. Like that, I'm just so in awe by your description of the two islands, Rarotonga and Aitutaki. I hope one day I'll get to visit as well. And I'm
Yeah.
sure you guys, if you have experienced it, if you're watching this, please, let us know what was your experience like as well.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, we definitely would like to know. And where have you been within the islands? Yeah. Did you want to? I don't know whether you've touched base on the food exactly.
We have touched
We
on
have?
it, yeah.
Okay. Was there anything else? I think that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
that summarizes it. Yeah.
Hmm. Wow. 2 weeks in the splendid island. What more do you want? Seriously. Well, guys, you know what to do. If you want to hear more of this, don't forget to like, share, comment, but also don't forget to follow us, subscribe.
That's right.
All right, guys. So let us know what you think of this video, and we'll catch you on the next show.
Yes.
All right.
See you next
See you
time.
guys. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.